President Donald Trump's motorcade slowed as it passed along a dusty road in rural Nebraska. This campaign stop wasn't planned, but something caught his attention. A large farm that looked completely abandoned. No cows, no chickens, no crops, just silent fields and a weary wooden barn. Trump signaled for the vehicle to stop. "I want to meet the owner," he said, stepping out under the wide blue sky. A Secret Service agent approached a nearby man fixing a fence, a tall, weathered figure with calloused hands and eyes that spoke of hardship. The farmer nodded and walked over. "You the owner?" Trump asked. "Yes, sir. Name's Caleb Rourke," the man replied with a polite nod. Trump scanned the empty fields. "Where's all your livestock?" Caleb paused, his face hard. "Gone, sir. Had to sell everything." "What happened?" Trump asked. The farmer sighed. "It's a long story." Trump walked with Caleb through the barren land. The wind whispered through the empty barn, echoing with memories of a once thriving life. "I used to have 90 head of cattle, 300 chickens, and 4 prized horses," Caleb said, pushing open the creaky barn door. "But after my wife passed, and the drought hit, everything unraveled." Trump listened quietly, more serious than usual. He glanced at his staff, but waved them off. No speeches, no media. This wasn't politics anymore. It was personal. "What about help, government loans, relief?" Trump asked. Caleb let out a bitter chuckle. "Paperwork drowned me faster than any storm ever could. Too much red tape. I applied, appealed, begged, all in vain." Trump looked at him. "Why didn't you call my office?" "I did," Caleb said, meeting his eyes. "Twice. Got no reply." The air grew heavy. "I never stopped trying," Caleb said softly, "but eventually the land just gave up on me." Trump noticed a small boy watching from the farmhouse window, no more than 10 years old, holding a mason jar in his hands. "Who's that?" Trump asked. "My grandson Luke. He lives with me now. His mom, my daughter, left town. Couldn't handle the pain of this place." Trump walked toward the porch. Luke stepped out slowly, still clutching the jar. "What do you have there, buddy?" Trump asked, gently. Luke opened the lid, revealing a single firefly blinking inside. "I catch one every night. Mama used to say fireflies are little lights that carry wishes." Trump knelt down. "And what did you wish for?" Luke whispered. "For Grandpa's cows to come back so he'll smile again." The president looked at the boy, stunned by the rawness of it. No campaign speech could have prepared him for this. "That's a strong wish," Trump said softly. "Let's see what we can do." Back inside the farmhouse, Caleb showed Trump a dusty ledger, pages filled with loss, vet bills, machinery repairs, livestock sale receipts, and multiple loan rejection letters. "I didn't give up because I was lazy," Caleb said. "I gave up because the system isn't built for folks like me anymore." Trump nodded slowly. "You're right, it isn't." One entry caught his eye: a $6,000 veterinary bill, marked unpaid in red ink. "What happened here?" he asked. "My last herd caught a virus," Caleb replied. "The vet said they needed quarantine care. I couldn't afford it. I watched them all get sick and go." His hands trembled. Trump gently closed the ledger. "You're not invisible anymore." Outside, Luke released his firefly into the dusk. It blinked once and flew toward the barn, toward the hope that maybe his wish had been heard. A local journalist, unnoticed until then, had snapped a photo. Trump walking beside a dusty Caleb, with little Luke trailing behind holding the firefly jar. By morning, the image went viral. "Trump visits forgotten farm. Boy's firefly wish melts hearts." Comments poured in. "Where are the government programs for farmers like this?" And "that little boy's face says everything." Donations began flowing. A stranger who had read the story started a GoFundMe, which hit $20,000 in just 6 hours. The next day in the Oval Office, Trump summoned the Secretary of Agriculture. "We have farmers like Caleb being buried in paperwork while their fields rot," he said sharply. "We're working on increasing emergency aid access, sir. Not fast enough. I want a task force on this. Small family farms only. No red tape. Direct help. That evening, Trump recorded a personal message. Today, I met a farmer who didn't ask for handouts. He asked for hope. And we're going to deliver it. Because America isn't just skyscrapers and cities. It's barns, fields, and little boys with firefly wishes. That video went viral too. 3 days after the visit, Caleb heard a knock on his door. Standing there was a woman in her 60s with a worn suitcase. "Name's Darlene," she said. "I used to work with your wife at the coop. I saw the story online and figured maybe I could help." "Help how?" Caleb asked. "I was a livestock specialist. I've got connections," she replied. "I don't have much, but I've got time and time's what it takes to bring a farm back." Caleb hesitated. "Why would you do this?" Darlene smiled softly. "Because this place used to be the heart of our town and because a little boy's wish reminded me what really matters. Thanks to online donations and a few anonymous benefactors touched by the story, Caleb soon received a stunning gift, a small herd of 8 cattle delivered straight to his pasture. Luke ran outside, eyes wide with joy. "They're back, Grandpa. They're back." Caleb stood in disbelief, tears rising. For the first time in years, the fields were alive again. A handwritten note was taped to one of the cattle trailers, for the farmer who didn't quit, and the boy who made us believe again, a fellow rancher. The story exploded once more across the internet, and America watched as something miraculous unfolded. The town responded instantly. Locals, inspired by the story, came to fix fences, plant crops, and offer repair work. Former neighbors returned to check on Caleb. A church group volunteered to repaint the barn. The high school FFA team offered to build chicken coops. The general store waived his feed bill for the month. Even the local bank, once quick to deny him, offered to refinance his old debts with dignity. "You gave us back our pride," the banker said. "Now it's our turn." But one problem remained: Caleb's old tractor, rusting in the shed with a frozen engine. "I can feed my cattle now," Caleb told Darlene, "but I can't plow my land." That same day, Luke secretly wrote a letter to the White House. "Dear Mr. President, Grandpa's smiling now, but his tractor is broken. It's the last thing we need to fix." 2 days later, a flatbed truck rolled up, carrying a brand new John Deere tractor. The delivery crew handed Caleb a card from the office of the president. "Every farm needs horsepower. Go plow some hope." Caleb ran his hand over the gleaming green paint, speechless. He didn't say a word, he just cried. Luke climbed into the driver's seat, grinning from ear to ear. "Let's plant something, Grandpa," Luke said. And just like that, the earth began to turn again. National news outlets soon descended. On the small town, everyone wanted an interview, not just with Caleb, but also with Luke and even Darlene. CNN ran the headline, "From Empty Fields to Hope, a Farmer's Comeback." Fox News aired a segment titled, "Trump's Surprise Visit Sparks Rural Revival." A local station live-streamed Caleb plowing his fields with Luke in tow. Though normally a private man, Caleb agreed to one interview. "It's not about fame," he told the reporter. "It's about the people who showed up when everything was gone and one boy who refused to let his light die." The story went global, with messages of support arriving from as far away as Australia and Japan. But amid the media frenzy, Luke remained grounded each evening. He quietly caught a firefly and whispered thanks to the sky for listening. One afternoon, while sorting through boxes in the barn's loft, Caleb found an old, faded photo curled at the edges. It showed his wife smiling beside their first calf. He brought it inside and placed it gently on the mantel. "That's your grandma," he told Luke. "I think she did, and I think she sent help our way." That night, Caleb lit a lantern and left it glowing outside the barn beside a small bouquet of wildflowers, a quiet tribute to the woman she loved this farm more than anything. Luke stood quietly, studying the photo. Do you think she saw the firefly wish? Luke asked softly. Caleb smiled, his eyes misty, who had once loved the farm more than anything. On the porch, a framed handwritten letter from the president sat next to the GoFundMe certificate, a message of gratitude to Caleb for reminding America of its backbone. Sometimes healing doesn't come through grand speeches, but through silent memories lit by lanterns and love. A few days later, a package arrived from Kansas. Inside was a letter. Dear Caleb, I read your story. I lost my farm 2 years ago, couldn't save it. But reading about your comeback made me try again. I leased land last week. I'm planting sunflowers. Thank you for reminding me to fight. Along with the letter was a packet of sunflower seeds. Caleb called Luke into the kitchen. Come on, buddy. We've got something new to plant. In the corner of the field, they dug small holes together and dropped in each seeds of shared struggle, carried across state lines, planted in the soil of hope. Sunflowers for the ones who haven't given up, Caleb whispered. Luke nodded. We'll grow them tall. Early one morning, loud clucking woke Caleb from sleep. He opened the front door and was stunned to find 10 chickens wandering across the porch, each with a colored band on its leg. A note taped to a feed bucket nearby read, Saw your boy said you used to have chickens. These girls are yours now, trained and spoiled by my kids. Welcome back to the coop life. A fellow farmer in Missouri. Luke was overjoyed. He named each chicken and made a cardboard welcome sign that read, Luke's Cluck Crew. That night, he told Caleb, it's like everyone wants us to win now. Caleb smiled gently. That's because they see what we're fighting for. 3 weeks after his first visit, Trump returned, this time unannounced, without cameras or a media entourage, just a small team and a couple of Secret Service agents. I wanted to see it for myself, he said as he stepped into the yard. He looked around at the grazing cattle, the clucking chickens, and Luke proudly showing off his sunflower sprouts. A slow smile spread across the president's face. You really brought this place back to life. Caleb shook his hand. No, sir, we all did. They had lunch together under the old oak tree, eating sandwiches while Luke excitedly showed off his latest firefly catch. This one's the brightest yet, Luke said proudly, holding up his firefly jar. Trump looked at Caleb and smiled. Maybe because the wish already came true. Inspired by Caleb's story, nearby farms and towns began working together. One farmer donated old equipment to another. A retired teacher offered free after-school tutoring, and the local diner launched a pay-what-you-can breakfast for farmhands. Luke and Caleb became symbols in their community, not of hardship, but of resilience. In their honor, the town voted to start a new annual tradition, Firefly Nights, where families lit lanterns in memory of loved ones and in hope for the future. Luke was named the honorary guest of the festival. It's amazing, Darlene said, watching from the porch. Hope's contagious. One afternoon, a sleek black SUV pulled into the driveway. An aide stepped out, carrying a sealed envelope and a bouquet of white roses. From the First Lady, she said, handing them to Luke. Inside was a handwritten note from Melania Trump. Dear Luke, your light has reached even the farthest places. Thank you for reminding us all that even the smallest spark can brighten the darkest fields. Keep believing. Warmly, Melania Trump. Luke beamed as he read it aloud. I guess fireflies do travel far, he said. Caleb hugged him. Yours sure did, little man. The State Fair Committee soon named Caleb Farmer of the Year, not for yield or profit, but for his impact on the community. Standing before a crowd of hundreds, Caleb took the stage humbly. I'm not special, he said, but I refused to let go, and one boy's wish, just one, brought us all back. The audience rose in a standing ovation, some wiped tears. Afterward, reporters asked him what he'd do next. Keep planting, keep feeding, and keep believing in fireflies. During Firefly Nights, Trump returned with one final gesture. He handed Luke a small wooden box. Inside was a golden firefly pin and a certificate that read, "Presented to Luke Rourke, for reminding the nation that one light can awaken many." Signed, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. The crowd erupted in applause. Luke looked up at his grandfather. "Do you think Grandma would be proud?" Caleb wiped a tear. "Son, she'd be beaming." That night, lanterns filled the sky, floating flames, carrying every wish, still waiting to come true. Months passed, and the farm was alive again. Calves were born. The barn was painted red. Rows of sunflowers danced in the wind. One evening, Luke caught another firefly. "What's the wish tonight?" Caleb asked, settling beside him. Luke paused thoughtfully. "I wish other kids can help their grandpas smile too." Caleb wrapped an arm around him. "Then you've already done your part." A soft breeze moved through the fields as the firefly blinked and took flight into the twilight, its tiny light once again carrying a message through the sky, that hope, no matter how small, can still light the darkest field. And somewhere out there, America watched, quietly inspired, quietly changed.